It's becoming increasingly clear that the cost of the gaming is heading in one direction: up. This isn't exactly happening in isolation. The rising prices of consoles and games are part of the much broader economic context that includes inflation, supply chain issues, and global marketing distributions. These challenges are affecting the entire tech industry, and gaming is no exception. Right now, it's not just about the cost of buying a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, it is also about the cost of games themselves. In the UK, paying £70 to £80 for a single title is becoming the norm, and that can be incredibly discouraging for casual gamers, or those trying to stick to a budget. It leads to a very real and very fair question: is gaming still worth it at these prices? Many gamers are rethinking how they interact with the industry. Instead of buying games at launch, more people are opting to wait for inevitable price drops. Others are turning to subscription services like PlayStation Plus or of course Xbox Game Pass as a more affordable way to access a large library of titles without the upfront cost of ownership. These strategies make sense when prices are climbing and quality often feels inconsistent. Despite these challenges, if you're still passionate about playing and want the best value for your money, the PlayStation 5 is arguably one of the better choices, at least for now. At current price, it still offers a good experience compared to what Microsoft is offering, but that gap is narrowing fast, and with the possibility of Sony adjusting prices due to inflation, tariffs, or manufacturing cost, this window of opportunity might not be open much longer. You know what's odd and somewhat even frustrating is that we are more than halfway through this console generation, and instead of seeing prices drop like we've come to expect over the time, they're actually going up. That's just genuinely unprecedented, and although these past 5 years have brought us some fantastic games, the bigger picture isn't quite so rosy. Considering the alarming number of studios closures that we've seen recently, add to that of the constant stream of buggy, broken, or poorly optimized game launches, major acquisitions between publishers and developers have often resulted in layoffs, cancelled projects, and pressure to release games on every platform just to recoup the development cost. We've seen high-profile hacks, game delays with no new timelines, and unfinished titles being leaked online in their early stages. On top of all that, there's a worrying trend of creating stagnation. Studios are chasing trends instead of setting themselves. Live service clones, rushed sequels, and overwhelming number of remakes and remasters have created an echo chamber where fresh ideas are few and far between. Instead of innovation, we get repetition. Instead of risks, we get rehashes. Let me just ask you something. Could this be the worst console generation that we have seen so far? It's not a question meant to ignore the good what's come out of it. The PS5 has certainly delivered some of the incredible titles, just as every generation has. Titles such as Demon's Souls Remake, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and of course Spider-Man 2 shows what modern hardware is capable of, and there's more on the horizon. But when you pull back and look at the state of the industry as a whole, it's hard not to feel concerned. Where's the innovation? Where are the new ideas? Not everything has to be massive AAA production that takes 8 years and hundreds of millions of dollars. We've seen that smaller teams, when given the creative freedom and support, can accomplish amazing things. Take Team Asobi for an example. With a team of just about 60 to 65 developers, they delivered Astrobot, a Game of the Year contender built with heart, creativity, and polish. Or, as an example, look at the Samfall Interactive, a team of around 30 people behind the Expedition 33, which is incredible game and generating buzz as the potential Game of the Year nominee. There are just two examples, but they illustrate the point well. Small studios are taking creative risks that make larger ones are just too afraid to try. So why aren't major studios using some of their vast resources to foster innovation? Why not build 2 or 3 smaller internal teams, each with 30 to 50 developers, and let them experiment with new IPs and gameplay ideas? It would inject fresh energy into the industry and offer players something genuinely new, instead of the same gameplay loop that reskins and basically re-releases once again and again. Just to make my point as well, I'm not an anti-sequel. I'm genuinely looking forward to Death Stranding 2 and of course Ghost of Yotei, because they're building on young, promising franchise. But when we get to sequel like number 5 or 6 and the core gameplay hasn't evolved much, it just starts to feel like we are reliving the same experience again and again. You know, I get it, big studios want to minimize risks. But the irony is that the most celebrated games of the past few years haven't necessarily come from those big studios playing it safe. They come from bold ideas, unique mechanics, and a passionate team willing to challenge the status quo. I don't want to sound like I'm just complaining for the sake of it. Gaming is one of my greatest passions, and I still believe in its potential to surprise and delight. But the current direction of the industry is genuinely worrying. How many truly fresh original games have we seen lately compared to remakes and of course such as re-releases? You know, I just wanted to share this and get it off my chest. And if you feel of course the same way, or even if you don't, you know, I think it is worth to have a conversation about this. Do let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe. See you guys all and have a wonderful day.
Rainu. Why do you always call me that?
It means one who is easily lost in the hunt.